watching M.O.D.
My gang sign shit, I'm on that main line. We keep it active, siempre listo when it's game time. I put that OT for the bottom, how we earn stripes. Like catching enemies and leave them in a past life. You boy from lengua, that's the reason why they get sliced. They think they're tough, got the pedal and they drop dime. These fools are trapper, crave attention while they speak lies. But fuck the talking, ain't no evidence on this side. You're fucking with a straight demonio shit that don't hide.
What comes around, should we take flight? Nothing new, another day on this rough side.
But in El Vado, we don't talk, fool, we take flight. And when there's beef, fool, you know that it's on sight. Love and hate, boy, you know that's a thin line. Make the wrong pick and flat line. Make the wrong pick and flat line. We don't talk in the Vado, fool, we take flight. And when there's beef, fool, you know that it's on sight. Love and hate, boy, you know that's a thin line. Make the
G-File.
What's good, G-Life? Now this right here is the Antelope Valley, the 661. Now the Antelope Valley is the area that consists of Valverde, Newhall, Santa Clarita, Lancaster, Palmdale, and all these areas within over here. Now although people call it the desert and you know like the upper class or whatever, middle class or whatever, this area is treacherous, homie. It gets on and cracking right here, you know what I mean? This area produces a lot of down ass homies, a lot of savage, you know, riders, you know what I mean? These guys ain't playing, even though they may not have as many gangs as like Los Angeles or the Valle. Don't get it twisted, it cracks out here, you know what I mean? You know, roll down the wrong street and you know, it's game over. You know what I mean? Don't ever think just this because this area is like within the desert that it doesn't have as solid as individuals. It would be stupid to think that, you know what I mean? I've always said, don't ever judge an area based on the way it looks, because that would be a fatal mistake. And the reason why we're in this area is because this is home to one of these tag banging crews that became a neighborhood within the Antelope Valley. You know, there were a tag crew that achieved the status and rose up the ranks and, you know, continue to represent theirs. And that is the DAF neighborhood. DAF standing for Down As Fuck. When they were a crew, they had different meanings, but Down As Fuck has always been one of the main meanings that they use. You know, even since then, it was always their phrase, and now you know that's what they use as their branding of their barrio, DAF, Down As Fuck. And their neighborhood is right there. What's on 25th Street? 25th Street, I would say their neighborhood extends all the way to E Avenue R8. E Avenue R8. I would have to say it extends to 35th Street, and 35th Street all the way to Avenue R. So that's East Avenue R. So everything that's in the middle is their neighborhood. So what's, you know, throughout 30th Street, because that stretches throughout their neighborhood, throughout Vanna Drive, you know, Avenue R4, you know, Avenue R3, 26th Street. All of that is what's considered their barrio. You know what I mean? A decent sized chunk of territory. And they're with the business, homie. You know, they have numbers, you know what I mean? You could also find them in the 818 as well, and you know, through the surrounding areas, but right here is where they call home. Close to the Williams McAdam Park is, you know, where you can find them doing their thing. And they're well known over here, you know what I mean? Like I said, they were a crew, climbed up the ladder and achieved the status, you know what I mean? That's just what it is. Now, I do realize that there's a tagging crew in East LA that's named DAF that also stands for Down As Fuck. But that DAF and this DAF are different neighborhoods. So even though they were both crews at one point, they were not the same crew. They were different crews that just didn't know about each other, but they had the same meaning, same. The reason they can't go on the Doppelgangers series is because this one actually became a neighborhood while that one is still a crew. So one is a crew, one is a gang. You know what I mean? While one is located on the East LA and that portion area, it is located from the 818 and the 661, the Antelope Valley. So that's the difference. But don't get it twisted. The Down As Fuck, you know, they're riders. I heard there were more than 80 heads, so close to about 100 heads, and they be representing right here and holding it down for their rider. But that's what some of the Down As Fuck right there representing for theirs. Now, as we make our way up here to Lancaster, the Lancaster area, this is where we'll find the next tagging crew that became a neighborhood. But this one located in the Lancaster area. which is the CM neighborhood. CM standing for Criminal Minded. Criminal Minded was a tank crew that became a neighborhood. They were a tank crew that was roughly around since late 90s, early 2000s. They were always more of a smaller crew, but they were always tag bangers, down for their shit, handle business, you know what I mean? And their neighborhood was consists of Lancaster Boulevard to Devonshire Street to Avenue J to 5th Street. So everything that's in the middle is considered their neighborhood. So throughout Nugent Street, close to the El Dorado Park, throughout Foxton, 3rd Street, 2nd Street, 4th Street, all of that. Close to the trailer park homes, also where you can find them. This neighborhood gets it on the cracking, even though it's not a big chunk of territory. Hey, they do their thing. You hear about them, you know what I mean? They rose up the ranks, achieved the status. They have homies that put it down, put in work, they have homies busted. They were doing the thing. They made the news a few times as well. They even got hit with a sweep for 187 a while back ago that made headlines too. This neighborhood puts in work, homie. They with the business. These guys ain't playing. The Criminal Minded, and I do realize that there's a few neighborhoods that are named Criminal Minds, along with a few crews. It's gonna be a common name that's being used here a lot. They have no affiliation to those Criminal Minds. This is its own. And this one is just CM, Criminal Minded. You know what I mean? And like I said, they with the business. You know what I mean? These guys ain't no chumps, ain't no suckers. Now I was told that they're roughly about 60 heads. But they be going at it right there, you know what I mean? Putting it down and putting in work, with the surrounding neighborhoods. It gets treacherous right here, you know what I mean? In Lancaster, because, where their neighborhood is at is really close to, you have, MTC right there. You have Battle of Lancaster City, which is, one of their main rivals. You have the West Side Lancaster. Right here, it cracks, homie. There's several neighborhoods that just be jam-packed within this area. So like I said, it gets on and popping, homie, you know what I mean? Don't ever think just because it's a desert or whatever that nothing could happen to you. Like, you could get got anywhere. That's just how it goes. And the CM neighborhood, they with the business right here, holding it down for the Criminal Minded. Now, another neighborhood you can find in this area, but they actually started in the San Fernando Valley, at least that's what I was told, is the Varrio MWC. MWC standing for Most Wanted Criminals. Now, Most Wanted Criminals, I remember bumping into these guys in the 2000s when they were just a tag banging crew. They were locos. They were pretty large, you know what I'm saying? They were around the Panorama, Pacoima area. And you heard about them doing stuff, you know what I mean? I had a homie from here and he was with it. So homies were putting it down for their crew. You know what I'm saying? And apparently, they had homies that had moved out there to Palmdale, in the east side of Palmdale. Began recruiting and started a clique out there and actually grew into a neighborhood. You know what I mean? Because I was told that they're roughly more than 50 heads. So still a little bit more smaller, but nonetheless holds a presence. You know what I mean? They have their homies that are busted, the homies that do things, they be kicking up the, you know what I mean? They be putting in their work. These guys ain't no chumps. You know what I mean? So they've been around since the late 90s, early 2000s when they were established. Like I said, as a crew, throughout the Panorama, Pacoima, all that, side of the Valle. And then just extended it over here to Palmdale because it's the same one. And achieved the status, and as far as I know, Most Wanted Criminals is the only one that they use it and say. So you can find them both in the San Fernando Valley and in Palmdale. But Palmdale is where they have their stronghold and continue to represent for theirs and their clique and putting theirs on the map. You know what I mean? They ain't no chumps. Like I said, these, doesn't matter if their background is tagged or not, they'll handle business. But that's what's up with the MWC, holding it down right there for the Most Wanted Criminals in the 661 area and putting the Antelope Valley up on the map. Also, right here in the Antelope Valley, close to the Sun Village area, you have another crew, roughly a small neighborhood. I was told that this was a small clique, you know what I mean, that roughly no more than 30 members. But nonetheless, homie, they were a crew that did their thing and put it down within this area of the Sun Village area, close to the Sun Village area, which is a vital AGK. AGK standing for Always Going Crazy. they were a crew that became a neighborhood. Obviously, when they were a crew, they had a bunch of different meanings. But this is the one that, at least that I know, that this is the one that they use. And like I said, they're relevant because of the name. You know, people know the name is because the name's, well, it's because they're relevant. You know what I mean? They were doing the thing. And their neighborhood is what's from 100th Street to Palmdale Boulevard to Westport to 110. So everything that's in the middle is considered their hood, which is like 102, 3, 104, 105, 108. You know what I mean? All the way to 110. So it's a pretty decent chunk of territory for a crew. Well, from a neighborhood that used to be a crew. And the AGK continue to represent right here and hold it down for theirs. But that's what's up with the always going crazy right there.